Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a lot different. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff on my screen that I'm going to get through, but we are going to be playing on a free to play account, a brand new account, and see if we can't take a budget deck to mythic on the ladder. I've been finding grinding the ladder not super fun because the meta's kind of solved on what you should be playing or not, but you can see everything on our account is new. All these bans in our lovely format known as Standard to Gathering. We clear that out. Clear that out. I guess I got a neck. Okay. Yo, how is magic hard to get into? What did all that mean? Nobody knows. But here we go. We got some sleeves. We got some gold. We're ready to dive in. Unless I actually don't know how much stuff it gives you. This is so much stuff. This is such an overwhelming opening if you haven't played Magic before. But as you can see, everything on here, our inbox is entirely open. We have all these packs to basically get to because those are all our standard legal packs. And then we have all this random stuff and just some packs in general. So with that, we're going to go ahead and pop all of our packs and then we'll skip over into the deck building phase. But right now we have 0 commons, 0 uncommons, 0 rares, and 0 mythics. Let's see how much we get after it's all said and done. All right, well, we're ready to craft. We already kind of moved everything out. As you'll see, we have all these new cards from our packs being opened. Going standard. Did get some cool stuff like a doorkeeper thrall is not awful to play as one of because artifacts and creature centering don't cause abilities to happen, which is pretty nice. But overall, I do think I am going to prove a point in today's video of how strong mono white can be and how it's pretty much ready right out the gate. We just kind of need to see if there's other white cards that we would like to play that we got, and then we're going to use some of our crafting. We have 21 commons, 26 uncommons, 11 rares, and 5 mythics. After it's all said and done, to somehow have vault progress. I physically could not tell you how we have any vault progress. That's basically if you open too many copies of the same card, you get vault progress. So having 1% on a new account seems weird. Makes me feel like I'm lying. But nothing going on really that I can see all too well. It's pretty sweet, I guess. But there's a couple routes we can go. I'm basically going to build monocolored deck anyway. And maybe we'll switch it up where I can play a couple different monocolored decks on a budget and see how well we can do. I did in blue, however, get a enduring curiosity somewhere. And it looks like fairies might be a plausible line, maybe something along those blue-black kind of situations. A strong card like Stock Up's only an uncommon. That helps out a lot, but we did get a curiosity, and this is definitely a rare that I would be willing to craft in a mono blue shell. I think even out of those decks, the one card is also bulk, and we have cards like Tolarian Terror that we could also play if we have our spells and stuff like that. So first, for today's video, I think I'm going to just start off strong and start off with mono white here. So there's going to be collected, not collected, and we'll go 1, 2, and 3. 3 being on the high end, and any color kind of doesn't matter. And then we just type in something like aura, maybe. We can then just start to look. Shardmage Rescue. Looks like a couple more uncommons to pick up. Ethereal Armor we can grab. And then we can go through maybe 2 Feather Flights. Kind of just looking what we can find. So not much in the aura. So I can't remember. Is it Eerie? There we go. This is the card we're looking for. Obviously the Scavenger is pretty good. And then there is a 2 mana. It's hybrid mana. It's only technically white for our deck that we want. Could look to do something like this. We might have to, depending on the other thing. But this is one of the strong creatures that we can play. And so far, we're already building out a decent shell. Mono white. Bulk pile is what I would like to call this. Obviously, a lot of this stuff comes down to knowing the game and being able to play off of that information. But we're going to thumb around and we're going to see kind of what else we can grab here. I'll just skip this part and we'll kind of cut to the part where we got all the cards in. Okay, so with that, we have kind of all the cards in place. We just have one little substitution, and I want to talk about one thing before we dive in and actually craft a deck and go. But this is a card typically played in mono white, but we want to save our rares. I don't necessarily want this just to be I play bulk mono white all the way, so I do want to try different archetypes if possible, of course, and seeing what decks do best. But also Origins of Spider-Man, we didn't open any of these, so we're not going to play any of these. Instead, we're going to sub it in for more common and uncommons, being 4 elites here. Enters Prepared, we pay 2. You may tap or untap target creature, draw a card. Not the worst thing in the world, just being able to stop a creature from blocking us. And then Cathar Commando just kind of being a flash creature that we can play. We're holding up kind of some interaction. We might be able to flash this in and blow up something that we need to blow up in general, kind of along with the seam rips. So overall, we will drop this down, cut these out. We have our 60 cards. We picked this sweet basic here. We're going to do craft 15 commons, 23 uncommons. It's not that bad when it comes down to it. 0 rares, 0 mythics. Craft it all up, card crafter. And we now have less commons than we do rares and less uncommons than we do mythics. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into game 1. Okay, so here we are with one of the ranges of all time. If you have a shelter, we can flash this commando in and kind of pop off with it. I don't really expect myself to lose that many games, especially coming in bronze and playing kind of a bulk deck in general. Okay, I think in the beginning, maybe you're ranked, it kind of ignores it entirely. I know you at some point play people that are roughly the same. Enable. I don't know. We move that. Sure. We have a Cathar Commando. We're just going to flash it in, shelter by ghost, and go about our day. This creature enters with 3 -1 counters. When this creature becomes tapped, if there was a 1/1 counter on it, remove it. Just go away. I don't know why you're here. Have you always been there? Beginning your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, you gain 2 life. Sure. Gonna remove a counter. My opponent's got a rare. No. I'm a sneaky boy. Gotta watch out for me. I could flash this in and answer, but with flying and things like that and a shelter by ghost, I just don't really care enough to. Okay, well, of course I drew the good card. Now I don't really want to commit to this commando, and I wish I would have traded. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this down. And then maybe just go ahead and throw Ethereum armor on it, but they do have mana. This will put it at 3. I don't know a lot of what they will have to answer it. Maybe committing onto this, bad idea. We'll just wait. I also have this to pop, right? So if they try to do something tricky, I can answer it. I will most likely now block with this, though. A situation like this where we do have a better creature with ward 2, and it's going to go up to ward 4. Feels pretty okay. Plus, it's going to draw, maybe get flying. Well, we'll get flying anyway, but ethereal armor, then pump it up with shelter by ghost. It's going to be a lot of life we're gaining. We'll basically gain all of our life back. It's kind of weird. I don't have the dog screeching. I'm a Johnny instead of. What's my account even? Is it Azula? I actually don't know. I think I made it Azula when I built Azula as kind of my commander deck that I was enjoying playing. Well, that does nothing because of the ward. When spacecraft deals damage to a number of artifacts control target creature and opponent controls. Sweet. So thankfully we blocked. They should have done this first, taking that creature out, forced me to do something here. But we're gonna go Scavenger. Great pickup. I don't really care about this guy. Although, I guess I don't really care about this guy at all. I care about them getting more creatures. Let's make this a bit larger so it's protected a bit. So it does survive a Burst Lightning, for example. If I didn't put a counter here, they could play 1 land, and then they could Burst Lightning this and pay the 4 ward that is on that card. And as you can see, this is... no offense literally meant whatsoever towards my opponent. I have no idea how new they are, but that's a situation where I feel like it's going to be a little hard to lose in bronze, because this is where players will make mistakes. I wish Arena would give me an account that I could do this on, or Wizards, so I don't have to actually beat players. and they can just kind of continue to play the game as they will. But it's also a learning opportunity for them as well to know that Shelter by Ghost and that creature ward double stacks there, and you don't get to pay it once. So it's a little tough, obviously, to see that happen, but I think we were going to win this game regardless. And with that, we'll move on. The DJ Banana is my opponent. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. On the draw once again. We'll keep this. Pretty content with this. Hey! And so it begins, huh? Get this. We have Rejoinder? Here. We're ready to go. Well, it took no time at all. Literally 0 time at all to immediately get into a match like this. They have one take. Well, they have multiple takes, I guess, but we're going to go Skyward. We're going to hit for 1. Our first opponent was definitely more on the bulk budget side. And immediately we go into 3 rares plus this. That's kind of crazy. 1 game is all it took. I got 1 win, and they're like, you know, and it's like, the thing is we're in bronze, right? Hey, here's a blue-black, an exact 75. That's fine, though. It is what it is. Shelter by Ghost, I can make my creature a lot harder to target, but with all my flash stuff, I'm just going to hit my opponent and call it a day. They do nothing. I flash in commando, still holding up protection. Doesn't give indestructible, which is definitely a bit tough, but sure. Rare count 6. 0. Kind of assumed this is what our opponent was on, but that's fine. They're definitely on a more veteran list. If I had to put some stock into a deck list, we don't go down nothing. We go here. I can't interact with this guy anyway, so I don't really care. Combat for 7. I am really worried about a board wipe here. If that's just the way it goes, it's just the way it goes. Unfortunate. Yeah, it's kind of what I figured. This is a sorcery, so we'll see. Rather rip a creature or not. Nope, my opponent gets it. So if it just goes to show you in terms of the difference in decks, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 rares to our 0. So, you know, playing Arena on a budget is going to be tough, but we'll get it done. Already getting our trials up. We have a lot of 1-drops in our hands, so maybe we can keep. We only play 20 lands, though. That's the real problem. I guess I'll have to mulligan, and then here I can just throw a land away. Start off, we're on the play, so we're pretty happy to take this hand. Pretty well protected creature. All right, now back to a card I've not seen before. Tap another target creature's ability cost 2 less to activate if you control a creature with a 1/1 counter. That's pretty sick. So 2 mana to tap creatures. Not that bad. For 1/1. Yeah, so we've immediately entirely flipped scripts, right? Like we went from one extreme to another. Equipment card. I guess this is probably pretty protected here. Let's exile the token so it's kind of gone forever. I could attack, see if they double block, Shard Mage, and answer everything. That's a bit risky, but it does clear their entire board. I'm just more or less curious if they'll do it. If they block with just 1 creature, I'm pretty happy. But if I can use this to answer both, I'll gladly do so. It does have ward still for 2. So it is hard to answer. Their next creature, I'll give it ward 3 or 4. And we'll kind of be in that same boat we was just previously in. Now their entire board's empty. Maybe with that automatic pass, I just don't. Load up. Get in. We're pretty close to winning. Another ethereal armor, make it quite large. Actually, not really. It'll go up to 7 and plus 4 on top of that, so it'll go to 11. I mean, pretty good, but not like the end-all be-all. And we still have this to play. Counter on it for each creature and artifact. We'll play land. We'll go to combat. We'll just attack with this. I don't even know what this does. Probably should read it. This creature enters with a 1/1 counter on it for each other creature and our artifacts you control. What a weird 3 games. It's clearly like was new player to someone who literally got on Arena, bought an entire deck, and then a new player. That is what an experience. It's kind of funny. I've not played or seen like a new account in a very long time. So here's something really disgusting. So Shelter by Ghost is only while it's actively like in play. It'll take something, so they have to pay this ward too. So we get to go commando, pop, blow up the Shelter, and then our creature will stay. Tough lesson, but a lesson nevertheless. Good card. I'm glad they know a good card. And I'm going to go ahead and end the game, so we don't have to keep them here any longer than we need to. And we'll go to combat and win. So with that, we'll move on. I don't know about this hand, but we're going to have to try it. Because obviously we know that we could have better openers. But a 3/1 with protection isn't going to be that bad, right? Mountain. Maybe it is going to be that bad. We'll see you later, little buddy. Oh, maybe not. Man, what did Arena do in that game too? I've immediately... Oh, target. That's actually kind of a cool card, to be honest. When this attacks, you pay a red. It wouldn't be that bad in like equipment. Because you can just attack, pay 1. They can't block your stuff. And if you put a big... Hey, yo, dude. I don't even know the cards, but I be knowing ball knowledge. Like, this is insane. I was like, yo, that'd be cool in equipment. Pundit immediately plays in equipment. I wish it was scripted. Obviously, no need to pay here. Oh, you still have to target? That kind of sucks. I mean, it makes sense. Most things like that do work in a way that you still have to target. But here, I'm just going to do this to draw a card, even though I don't know if it necessarily matters. Decline. I just want to draw. Because I have 3 rescues, and I'm going to hit for 4. We're kind of in a race right now. A race that I'm not super confident I'm winning. Although these will help. Sure. I do also want to make the thing a bit harder to do, because I feel like just building mono white auras is almost a cop-out. It makes doing a video like this pretty easy. Just, oh, it's my turn. Okay. I do nothing. Interesting. So let's do a little combat trick here. Let's tap this point down. Yes. You find the ethereal armor. Kind of the same trick as before. Let's attack with a 1/2 and see if my opponent double blocks. They don't. They could have chump blocked, though. I would have liked to see maybe a chump block, but for 1 damage, maybe not. It kind of just depends what they're doing. If they're a Convoke deck, I definitely wouldn't. If they would have played a Convoke creature, I swear. A power and toughness equal the number of... Yeah, I mean, definitely a great reason not to block, right? Everything's coming together. They can force non-blocks to happen. If they attack here, we do get to kind of blow them out a little bit. We have one of these, so I do want to grow my creatures a bit. This is going to get a really... This is going to be a really weirdly played game where things are going to kind of intertwine a bit. But can they beat First Strike? I don't know. This will definitely be a harder trick for them to catch. Because what happens here is they lose their creature for free. First Strike's a bit tough. So this creature deals combat damage before creatures without first strike. Double strike is technically the same mechanic, but it does it before and at normal time as well. Holy go wide. I do have ways to give flying, so I'm not super bummed about this.
I promise it's not scripted.
Well, I'm going to keep pace of play up again, just so my opponent doesn't have to sit there here if they don't really want to. Right. Try to be as respectful as I can be while doing this. But man, have I not just soul read both of these. Thanks. That's also nice. The only real issue they have is they can't beat my flying. I am very committed to this, but with 2 protection spells, I feel okay. Fortunately, I will give it protection just so I can get the game over with. They do got the little Spider-Man on. They got some cool stuff. If they played a deck that played War Leader's Call, they honestly would be pretty close to winning. That is perfectly fine. I'm not that brokenhearted about that. They seem to get the understanding of the game pretty well. They just kind of stumbled on the first strike, maybe a new mechanic for them, which is fine. We're all there. We've all been there, right? So we're going to go here, commit over, and I'm just going to go to combat and swing this right away. Good game. Fair enough. We will move on to the next one. Got some pretty good auras in hand. We got a good guy against maybe a control situation or a graveyard control situation. It's weird because it feels so control-y with Deceit and stuff like that that it almost feels right to call that deck a control deck until it literally uppercuts you into the sun. Okay. Maybe a slick shot deck. Not really sure. I will play another one of these. Their graveyard might matter in the fact that the lessons might matter, so we will target them primarily. And we'll hold up our protection. Could have went for a little more damage. Not necessarily worth it right now. But so far, we might be able to get this Veteran Survivor online fully. We just get a full pass here? We do. Okay. Not bad. We have to make sure that we stack it, that this one gets the prio. So we want it this way. We'll choose here, but then the second one will choose the same one, and then the second one will resolve first. So we get the one that we want to be turned on. I think it's what, 3 or more cards gets +3. Firebending Student, that's a very good card. Maybe giving it haste here. I cooked? I could be. This is 100% a situation where I could lose the game. They're going to make 9 mana. They only need 1 to fling it, but it has to happen after, so technically they'll have none. Yeah. This is crazy. I am getting wombo comboed right now. 15, is that all? I say, is that all? Like, that wasn't just a crazy amount. Go here. Shelter. Could have only hoped. Just don't think it's going to be enough. Hold on. I don't know the math. 7, 8. Do I just get to one punch them back? I do. Wow. Alright. We'll go blow for blows, I guess. Very cool. Crazy. They literally did nothing. That's actually not even a bad deck to build as well. If you just have a couple of rare slots to submit, you know, you could play Firebending Student, or because all these are commons, like every single one of these is a common, right? But you can also play Slick Shot Show Off, which is a rare, but rares are pretty okay early, at least. If mono red's a route you wanted to go, definitely a fine deck to play. Almost got us, but thankfully we got to get back, you know. But with that, we'll move on. We have Jace the Avatar with Jace the name. So and they mulligan. So it feels like this opponent's going to be a little bit higher up on the scale. Typically, when somebody knows a little bit of Magic lore and things like that, I do feel like they've played quite a bit paper, maybe new. Starting off strong with the Landwehr Elf. I'm not going to give them a turn with that Landwehr Elf. No Badger Mole Cub for them. Plus, they're also on a mulligan, so interacting and kind of stumbling them early definitely makes a lot of sense for us. They are in green, so this isn't the most protected card in the world. With our commando can come in on their instep. There's Simic. Bristly Bill. Alright, yep. We are a step up currently. Kind of what I figured. I kind of want to just jam the commando now, but we'll just wait. Maybe we can sneak attack it in and take out the Bristly Bill, which would be nice. But if they play a fetch land here, we will be a bit short of that caliber of play. Hopefully this card search your library for a basic land or whatever. Maybe a desert comes in here. I could see more on a budget list playing this so you can go get a desert. I went straight to combat. Splash this in. Anything? There was no pause there, so we're going to take that trade. That's a little bit of ball knowledge by your boy, knowing how the game works a bit. And since we're kind of set up here, we're good to go. We're ready to go. Now we load out our creatures. We answered their Bristly Bill. And what I mean there, right, is Arena will give you tells that you just don't get in paper, right? Especially against experienced players in paper. They're going to bluff you on stuff, right? For example, if I was playing Auras, right, and my opponent's deck primarily focused around targeting my stuff, I would always potentially leave 1 mana open to imply that I have my protection spell that they can't answer, right? Because now they have to think about it forever. And there's just not a lot that they can do about it. Because if they go into it and I have it, they lose their removal. If they don't play it, maybe I get a turn or two of damage or the opportunity to actually draw it. And now my bait and my holding of it is a lot more representable, right? So it's a bit weird. There's a lot of weird things like that you can do in Magic whenever you're playing in paper. But the tell that Arena had is, you heard me probably say, oh, that automatically went to combat, which kind of just meant their turn was done. So if you see here, if it just auto skips, see how it didn't auto skip to his phase and they are actively passing the turn here and it stops here? That means they have something that they can technically play. Or they're holding priority. But in bronze, you're not going to really see that, right? So we get another draw. I'm not going to commit any more out. This is the representation part of the game. I will go ahead and play out my scavenger, though. Just keep taking it a bit slow here. We're into a lot of open mana. We know there's pauses. And as we go through our phase, as we hit end turn here, you see how it immediately ended the turn? That most likely means they don't have any instants or sorceries in their hand. So they're going all out for this. Pretty sweet. This is where the bulk end of the deck start coming in, as we kind of saw with some other stuff. But here, we're going to go ahead and give another creature flying. And then I will go ahead and commit the counter here because this does have some form of protection. Okay, I'll just draw 3 ethereal armors and end the game right on the spot, so I don't really have to thematically think about my turns anymore. I thought, oh, here we go. Like, I can think about my turns a bit. Instead, we'll just draw every copy of ethereal armor in my deck, and sometimes that's just how it works, right? I didn't even count if that was enough. I just assumed. All right, here we go first. A lot of creatures, not a lot of auras, but we do have a draw. We do have a good card and a way to stop something kind of twice. This has honestly just been a good creature to flash in and trade up with. Hello. people down in bronze, they use the chat log a lot, man. That is one thing I don't feel like I get very often, other than a random player being like your go or something, you know. You know, the old-fashioned your go. We get a creature with ward. Now they cannot use a card like this on it this turn at least, but they can next. So far, drew another land, which is not great. Yep. A lot of removal. Shelter's pretty solid. We're just going to pass through, see if they try to interact. We'll flash this in instead. Flasher that's unstoppable. So far, mono black strong cards, I would say. Every card that they've played so far is a good card. At least up a tier, right? So these cards are pretty solid. And it is relatively budget so far. You can definitely cater into something like mono black, where you got a lot of cheap removal in terms of commons and uncommons, and play strong rares like Unstoppable Slasher that can close out games. So we'll definitely see. Nice. Unholy Annex, potentially a card here. Might be trying to get the Betrayal online. Just having Ward 2 does make it a bit weird. And Soldier, sure. My card does go away now. I was going to use it next turn. Double Seam Rip, not great. Into the matchup that Seam Rip typically never finds value in. We're down to one creature. This could definitely be the game. Sure. Okay, well, Seam Rip weirdly has a target. Wow. All right, well, just like the one game prior, this is going to be how we end up falling here. Can't really do much. We have to just wait. Seam Rip. The Seam Rip curse has arrived upon us. All right. Pretty cool deck. They're playing zombie skeletons, it seems. Okay. I don't know about this. Slasher's too good to not be attacking with. Slasher's way more life, and you get it back. So out of this attack here, Slasher attacking makes more sense. Even because you're going to lose either creature regardless, and either creature trades with mine. So you should take the one and get his cooldown to start ticking. And use this as more of a blocker, especially knowing that I play Seam Rips. I get to pick this up for free. I cannot pick this up for free, which is maybe why you don't attack with it. So a mixed bag. Scavenger comes in. This helps with other copies of Betrayal potentially. We're gonna try. We ripped obviously the other Seam Rip. I don't even know if I want to commit more to this commando. I think I just want to put more counters on the Scavenger. Weird as that is. And then just wait. This is already a high value target from them, at least in their perspective. Because it has another Slasher underneath. Hey buddy, guess what I got? The third Seam Rip for that boy, because apparently Seam Rip's good in this matchup. But normally mono black kind of Unstoppable Slasher core Unholy Annex matchup, which I thought is what I thought it was, is obviously a lot harder to beat. Once again, I still think this is technically the play. No blocks from me. Gonna take half my life total, but that's not my concern. We don't win by being the blocker, and we win by being an incredibly strong attacker. So let's go here. I want to give the Scavenger flying. Once again, kind of mix the bag up a little bit. Okay, there's a veteran. Go Seam Rip here. Take her last piece, do the Scavenger. Could have played the veteran and maybe done that on that, but I want damage here. This veteran's probably blocking the Slasher this time around. Go back up to 14. We were at, what, 25? Something like that. So we'll see. This is where we get hit with like a deadly cover-up. Or team, or we rip the 4th seam rip to exile this. I don't want to be that guy. We're probably going to rip and land. But the odds would tell me land at this point. So... what do we want to do? Do we want to make them take a turn? But they can play passive forever, but do we just allow them to maybe make a mistake that way? So our commando attacks. They block with slasher. I'm going to tell them I'm thinking. So commando attacks. Slasher blocks. At least that's what I would think. I would not probably block my 6/6. Again, Flash comes back. 6/6 don't. 3 seam rips. Unlikely to have another. This can be played to potentially cheat out of combat and maybe win later and protect my creature from removal when they think they're good. Yeah, I think I had to pass. It's weird. I kind of have to just take a turn off, even though they're going to get 2 looks here, and that doesn't make me all that confident. It just kind of sucks that obviously unlocking this does give them a flyer, right? Could be a situation where maybe... we really need them to overstep here. That's about all we get. Like, I see them highlighting this a couple of times. So if they highlight this, make it a creature and attack with it, and maybe we can figure out a trick to get around it. We do have to watch that as a blocker as well. Tragic Trajectory. I think I have to let that go. Fortunately. Because I have to do something like this. If it's 3 removal spells, like, you know what I mean? This is what it is. Targeted creature, I guess itself. This is obviously resolved, so it's actually protected here. So the overstep here is an all-out attack, I think. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I guess. Ah, man, I basically got us. Again, let them overstep. We'll try. A little part of me thought about popping this to blow this up so they didn't gain life or the extra card. And then if I would have ripped like another Shelter by Ghost, I could have won. But pass. Don't have a lot of other choices. Sure. Don't have a lot of other choices. Sure. We could find something like this to play and tap the flyer or something like that, maybe. Draw a card, and then maybe if we rip Ethereal Armor, we can do it. Obviously, we're in the Hopium territory. But definitely finding somebody playing a bit more rares than what we've previously gone against. But they're playing a bit passive, which I personally, to some extent, agree with. At some point, you obviously want to turn on the Jets. But at the same time, they're looking at a lot of pressure on the board. So I can definitely see playing passive. You have the winning condition here. It does leave me to a couple of draws that could, I guess, potentially get me there. Now they go all-out attack. Okay, interesting. Not really ready for that. 6, 7, 8, 9. So we block here. Do I take the 5 life or do I pop this? I mean, I'm probably on a 1-draw turn anyway, right? It's kind of my thought process, is I have 1 draw to win anyway. They have another Unholy Annex, and they have it, right? This keeps life gain away, and it keeps something like an Ethereal Armor a live win. If they don't have removal. Down the 1. Again, I think if I don't draw the win here anyway, I was probably losing regardless. So let's see it. Play the other Annex. No? Maybe it's another flash creature? Makes our draws a bit easier, I guess. Technically. Will they remove my scavenger? Ah, we drew a land. Good game. They got it. We'll move on. Dang, that sucks. We were bound to draw a land, though. That's kind of the worst part. The longer the game went on, as we can see here, we had 4. Dude, let me see the battlefield. I don't care. We can see what we have: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards to 4 lands. We're definitely due for a land there, so it was likely to happen. Obviously, we just needed a draw, and we could potentially have won. We obviously don't know what this card is, so maybe we lose regardless, and it didn't really matter, but like to try. I'm going to talk about all in on 1 creature. We're willing to do it. Go the mirror. Interesting. Can't say I'm fully prepared for the mirror. We'll have to play it weird, though. Unfortunately. Because we only have 1 creature that can be answered by a seam rip, we'll have to play this when we can protect it. They just go shelter into nothing. Go second scavenger. Sure. They'd be playing the good cards that we decided not to craft. They go Ethereal Armor right away. Okay. I even have time to wait here. I don't know. This is a lot of pressure. I almost have to be able to attack with this next turn. I literally don't think I can wait. It's so much. The difference between play draw here gonna matter a lot. Will you play a seam rip? Then it'll just be creature play shelter, hopefully, but you know. I think I have to play to the out of... Oh, wow. Yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about. To be honest with you. I'm just staring down 10 damage on this turn. Maybe more. All right, live at 1. Because I can't block. Oh! What ripsies. Here. Over committing is going to save us greatly. They did not need to play the rescue. They would have won if they kept it. But now I think that we win. Wow, I really thought we were just super melted there. Could still be. There's still the option of seam ripping this. And now they'll never get the chance. Oh, I guess they were 1 short. I lied. They were 1 short of seam ripping. Here. And we'll slowly just curve the game in our favor. They are playing the good card. This is one of the cards that I wish I was playing because of how strong it is. I just see if they block, I think. If they block, they have nothing. We go up to 10. Here. Then we'll exile this. I was trying not to use, I don't know why I put that on the only non-life linker I have, but whatever, that's fine. I hate winning. I was really just trying to get removal without having used removal, right? So to answer maybe another solid creature. When you're playing kind of down here and the bar is any card can be played, I'm trying to play around being able to catch everything, and Shelter by Ghost can do that. The plan there, basically, if they blocked, regardless, if they block this, I was going to flash this onto it, giving it a 1/1 counter. It would go to 3, answering the 2/1. If they block this, I would probably still Shard Made Rescues here, but put a counter here, and then it would answer the spider, but I would get to keep my Shelter by Ghost. Was the whole idea, but in a deck where they could put a counter and potentially play like a Shelter by Ghost and cause a lot of problems by getting rid of this shelter, and then this is in play. I just didn't want to make the game really messy, so I just went ahead and cleared that token up, and it would require them to play creature and shelter. So we'll win, and we'll move on. Kind of like the hand our opponent had with the double ethereal armor here. I am going to go ahead and play the survivor first, leave it out for the removal, plus have it online if I go against a graveyard deck to have it start attacking and fueling that kind of game plan. Looks like it might get answered right away, which sucks a little bit. That's okay. Or not. Maybe it gets answered here, now, and never. Combat? Play out our creature. Our hand's not that great. We have 4 lands and 2 armors. No instant speed interaction. They have a burst lightning or a shock or something. They use nothing. Okay. Maybe it's a pump spell, because some pump spells you can target your own stuff with. Now there's a card I can get around. I will probably just jam ethereal armor on this spider, because it'll put it to 4, and something like a lightning strike or a shock won't be able to answer it. And it has ward 2 right now, so it's just protected. Go for a braid here. Okay. Also, doing that right now allows this to have cards to exile, so it can also grow itself later. But now this is answerable to a lightning strike. It does take their entire turn, and then this will exile the lightning strike, and then maybe if we draw something else that's good, we'll just be able to find stuff from there. But we'll have to see. It's all part of the plan. Or they go land board wipe. That's not part of the plan. That would cause us to lose. We lose to that regardless if we're in the high-end version of the deck or low-end version of the deck. But that's a pretty clean way to answer that. We're never blocking here. Weirdly enough, I probably just have to play this ethereal armor, because I cannot have this get popped by a board wipe. Fine. Sure. Get that out of the way. With how much power is here, I'm not entirely sold I'm going to need this tap or untap. I'd much rather get the card draw now, instead of wasting my mana on it next turn. Even though my entire deck does, I guess, fall under the 2 mana category. But, alright. Well, cool. We win. That's pretty sick. I think this puts us in bronze. Oh, we were already in bronze too? Yeah, so I think I'm going to call it there. Let's hop to the outro and talk a little bit about the deck. All right, so with that said, I did my outro, but I wanted to talk about something first. This is kind of important. If you want me to continue the series, I kind of need to know in the comments, because I won't really know otherwise other than views and the analytics, and if it's roughly the same, then it doesn't really matter. If some people like this content, then that's great. It can be a lot more educational type of content where we talk about things, and as we grow our collection, we can grow our decks into being a lot better versions of themselves. And with that, we're going to talk about it right now, actually. So these cards were all 4 ofs, as you know from the beginning, and you could tell I did the outro already. But a card I would craft for this is the deck I kind of want to marry, I kind of commit to. I would be crafting 4 of these. This card is probably the strongest card in the deck overall, in terms of I can only play 1 card on this board that is completely dry. Dry meaning empty. I want it to be this one. because one, it makes a creature, pumps that creature, and then gives that creature double strike all on its own, and it's just over a couple of turns is going to give you all that value. But the double strike becomes so good when you're getting a creature like this that might just be a 4/4. You get a free double strike off of this, so now it's going to hit for 8. You add an ethereal armor on top of that, even if ethereal armor is going to give you like a +2, say you have this and a seam rip sitting in play, +2, that's 4 more damage for 1 mana, and that is a lot of value to get off of just one card, and it's also really hard to target, and there's not a lot of they can do. You have something like a Shelter by Ghost against a mono red or another aggro matchup, and you give that creature double strike, gaining 8 to 10 life is pretty strong. So this is the card I would definitely be crafting. And what I was saying is I kind of enjoyed these. I did want to try them a bit more, but Commando, you can definitely trim. These are all kind of whatever, especially these 2 creatures right here are definitely trimmable. But if you want to play them still and try them out, maybe you enjoyed them. I kind of enjoyed the fact that this had flash, so I was saying you could probably do something like this, because Seam Rip's not one of those cards that is an absolute requirement to play. When it's bad, it's bad. When it's good, it's good. And if you're relying on this on turn like 5 or 6, it probably could have been winnable with a lot of other cards anyway. So it's a bit weird. But this card does have weird, unique value. And I think the card draw from this kind of keeps it still playable while also being able to tap a big creature in the way. Especially whenever you're going to potentially have that double strike happen. Because this doesn't tap to cast this other side. So you can see a situation where maybe you have this in play, you play this on 2, you make a 2/1, then you put the counter here for some reason. Say your spider gets answered, you put a counter here, now it's a 2/3. Maybe we throw a counter on it from a scavenger, or we do like the fight at the end, so now it's a 3/0. And then we give a double strike at 6. We use its ability to tap a creature, put an ethereal armor on it, and call it a day, right? So there's a lot of playability with this, but 4 of these is what I would definitely be crafting if I was to commit to this stack full time. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. So with that, I'll say goodbye.